Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, viewer mail and March Madness. What's going on in the news? Coming at you right now. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. Let's get to it right now. Mary Anderson from Livingston, Ohio has this to ask you. Hey DB, what's going on? Love your show and want to know what the hell is happening with the NCAA tournament? I don't know what to say. The tournament, girls and guys, and I follow the guys' action more than I do the girls. The girls can be exciting, but I do follow the guys more than I do the girls. This is the first in probably got to be 30 years, or since I can remember, they started the brackets, to fill in your bracket, that I have not entered a bracket. I waited until the last minute. I wasn't excited about everything. And then at the last minute, I filled one out really quickly, not really knowing exactly what it is I was entering in it. But I picked out some of the favorites that I like, and some of the teams that are, can be feisty down the road. I'm still in the Moody Gardens Hotel, so there are people, even though they can see me recording right now, they're going to walk right by and just obnoxiously talk nice and loud, and seeing that I'm recording. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, buddy. But I have no choice right now because my wife and my son are sleeping up in the room, and I don't have access to a room, so I'm going to wing it. I'm going to throw it at you right here from the lobby of the Moody Gardens here in Galveston, Texas. But the tournament, I filled out some stuff just before the tournament started. At the last second, I got on the ESPN bracket. And I got to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth, the answer to the question. I haven't looked. And I picked some long shots to advance, to make some upsets in the first round. I think the tournament is more interesting. I think that's what's exciting about the tournament. And I'm going to relate this question to what I'm going to talk about because I think that when it comes to the news and what's going on, it's relentless. But I have a theory. That politicians follow the NCAA tournament. And I'm going to explain that to you on the show next. So, the subject for today is the NCAA tournament. And I'm going to explain to you why. It's not really the tournament, what's happening in the tournament, because that's not as important. If you look at the flow of news and how it is almost stopped, it really has. It is almost stopped. And the tournament's going on. March Madness is as big as the Super Bowl in some ways. Not a single day like the Super Bowl is. That one day, the Super Bowl reigns supreme as still that and the World Cup final probably are the two biggest single day sporting events. The Indianapolis 500 has got to be up there. But you get what I'm saying. But for this week or so of the NCAA tournament, of the March Madness, the 2 weeks of it, man, it crickets here in the U.S. No one's really talking about it. Even the Democrats are not screaming and hollering. Hakeem Jeffries and some of those guys, they must like to watch the games because it has slowed down so much. There's still a war going on. There's still all these other things that they're usually oppositional towards the president. No one's saying nothing. They're all staying in to watch the games. So I'm kind of enjoying the quiet of it. I think that my theory is that they watch the tournament. Now, on a less sarcastic note, I came across something which explains to me the position of the president of the administration. I love to watch Rubio handle the press. He kills it. I'm rocking my camera with my foot. That can't be good. I'm really winging it today, so give me some credit for getting this thing done. There's a lady walking her baby, and she's talking to the baby, and she's approaching us, and they're going to talk to the baby the whole time while I'm recording. I love it. Nothing will distract me. I'm going to play this clip. It's a little long. Watch the clip and listen to what this guy says, because it kind of explains more than the superficial value that that people on the left are trying to put on efforts that Trump has made in Venezuela, in Greenland, in Panama, in Iran. You'll start to see what the military consequences, what the economic consequences to the United States would be had he not shored up our security. And watch this guy explain, because he does it better than I could do it. But I wanted you to see it. So watch this couple of minute clip, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to comment.
Listen carefully, America, because the media talks about headlines, but they rarely explain the strategy. So let's step back for a moment and ask a simple question. What has the United States been doing under the second Trump administration? When you step back, you begin to see something powerful, a pattern, and in geopolitics, patterns never lie. For decades, the United States watched as rival powers slowly expanded their influence across the world. China building ports and trade corridors, Russia projecting military power, Iran expanding proxy networks. But something changed. Under President Trump, the strategy shifted. Not chaos, not random decisions. A pattern. Look carefully. They started with Panama. It was never just about a canal. It was about removing Chinese influence from one of the most strategic trade arteries on Earth, the Panama Canal. Because whoever influences that canal influences global commerce. Next, Venezuela. Look deeper. That struggle is about pushing back against the geopolitical foothold of China, Russia, and Iranian-backed networks in the Western Hemisphere. Because history has always been clear. America protects its hemisphere. Then comes Greenland. Many people laughed, but serious strategists understood immediately. It's about controlling key navigation routes in the Atlantic Ocean and securing strategic access to the Arctic region. And Greenland sits at the strategic gateway between North America, Europe, and Russia. Control that region, and you secure the northern defense perimeter of the United States. Now look at Iran. This is not just about the Middle East. It's about the global energy chessboard. Because Iranian oil flows heavily toward China, while Iranian drones and weapons have supported conflicts aligned with Russia. Disrupt that system and you weaken the axis challenging the West. And finally, Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida. For 60 years it has been a foothold for rival powers in America's own hemisphere. Remove those footholds, and the Western Hemisphere becomes strategically secure again. So step back and look at the map. Panama, Venezuela, Greenland, Iran, Cuba. Different headlines, but the same strategic doctrine. Reduce rival superpower influence. Protect global trade routes. Secure American energy and security. That is not randomness. That is grand strategy. Because throughout history the United States became strongest when it protected its hemisphere, secured its trade routes, and projected strength when necessary. And that is the philosophy behind Make America Great Again. And whether people support it or oppose it, one thing becomes very clear. When Americans look honestly at the patterns of power in the world, they understand something simple. A strong America protects freedom, a strong America protects stability, and a strong America protects the future. This is Alta's World News. We don't just report headlines. We explain power. We explain consequences.
So you can see from this clip how it's explained what were the reasons why, beyond what people try to, we're stealing their oil in Venezuela. We're doing this, we're doing that. No, we're not. There was far bigger global consequences about what was happening and what we were going to. Same two guys. I want to say hi. I should have them on as a guest because they have so much to say. You know, I should just ask them if they want to sit in. Let me stop being at another door. Right? Man, I'm going crazy. I did Scott Baio's podcast last night. He's such a good guy, you know. He really is. He's just a really good husband and a good dad, and he loves his life, and he's a Christian, and he just has so many things that we all want to aspire to be. Easygoing, smart. I really enjoy being on his show. First time I ever did it. If you get a chance, I guess look up Google the Scott Baio show and see. We went for about an hour and told some funny Hollywood stories, told a great story about how I know Scott, that he forgot. I think we worked together on his show, if you remember this show, Charles in Charge. And I was so excited to do a show because it was Scott Baio. And, from back in Happy Days, we knew Scott and blah, blah, blah. So I was excited at the chance. It was early in my career. And I got to do this guest star spot on his show. And he was very, very sweet, a nice guy back then too. But he didn't know, and I'm not going to give it away here. He didn't know how I met him. And I know him before he was even an actor, before he was famous. I know him. And when I had to reveal to him what it was, he was blown away. He's like, "What?" And I said, "I told you this on the set of Charles in Charge," and he forgot. So check out the Scott Baio show with me on it, or watch it anytime. I want to give him a plug. He's a good man. So anyway, when you look at why Venezuela, why we removed Maduro, when you look at Greenland, everyone laughing at Trump for Greenland. But as you can see, he's locking down this part of the hemisphere. He wants to make sure and secure our borders because there's stuff going on out there. And there's no chance at all we could allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. We're going to shut that down now. Let's not wait till they have some kind of power. They could launch a nuclear missile. We're going to take out their missiles. We're going to take out their navy. We're going to take it all out. And we gave them a chance to sit down and negotiate. So we've knocked out Khomeini. Now Khomeini's son has sought exile in Russia. We'll see who's going to come in next and what he's going to do. And if he doesn't have the right answers, we'll get somebody else in. So, and that has to be to ensure our grandchildren's safety in the U.S. We cannot have a regime that walks around all the time saying things since I'm a child, we must kill America, we must kill Americans, death to America. But do you walk around, think about the opposite side of it. Well, all these people on the left side want to fight and want to say we're in an unnecessary war. They want to say anything they can to condemn Trump and the administration, because this is an election game, all of it. It's all about who's going to be popular, positioning Newsom versus Harris versus whoever. And then on our side, Rubio, J.D. Vance, whoever it's going to be on the Republican ticket. This is all this shuffle for power. That's all it is. And something that gives you reasons to vote for Congress people. And while they just get fat and fatter, very few of them, there's a handful that actually just do their job and don't do insider trading and don't rip you off and don't have programs that screw the American taxpayers. But while this contest is going on between the different elected officials in this country, I want you to look at this. Do you ever remember, except for maybe the hostage situation with Carter, which was back in the late 70s, do you ever remember anyone walking around that you know or yourself saying death to Iran, saying death to Persia, saying death to anything to do with them? I don't really think a lot about Iran or Iraq, or besides the fact that our men and women are over there sometimes, from time to time through my lifetime now, in a war situation. So I'm praying for them, for our guys. But I'm not even talking about Iraq or Afghanistan or Iran. I don't want all the people in that country to be dead. I don't think that. I don't think all the people are behind these regimes that run the political scene in their country. So therefore, I don't want kids, death to Iran, death to Allah, death to, whatever the chants would be, the chanting. I don't feel that way. And I don't hear Americans saying that. I don't hear Americans being consumed with that ideology. I could give a shit what they do over there. Do whatever you're going to do. If it's going to come to my door, if it's going to happen here, well, you're going to be, at the other end of a gun. I would defend myself. I would defend my wife. I would defend my children. I would defend America. And I'm an old man. But you come knocking on our door, and I would defend my property and my country. Yeah, I would. So, listen, we're in town, my wife and I, and we're looking at homes. We're here in Galveston, Houston, to make a move now from Atlanta. And my wife would be successful wherever she went. She's an attorney, Notre Dame Law School grad, super smart, beautiful. So she's kind of coming along because she knows the old man wants to be closer to the water. And I want to come to a place that I feel I'll be safe. I want to come to a place that people are like-minded to me in as far as their values, their Christian values. Is Texas perfect? No. No place is perfect. Is it a lot better than places I would go that have gone off the rails, in my opinion? I'm from New York. I miss New York. I miss Long Island. I miss the mindset there, that East Coast mentality and the speed of things, how people think and act quickly. But the cost of living in New York right now is so high. It's I was looking at houses. My wife, I took her up there to see Massapequa, the town that I'm from. And we were looking at property, and the tax on the house was $46,000, a year. In 10 years, you spend $500,000 on your property tax. Granted, Massapequa High School and the athletic programs and the teachers and the whole district is well worth having to be taxed to pay for. But that much money to live there? I'm looking at beautiful homes here, and it's $8,000. I think that's still a lot, but certainly for the value of the education and to keep your children safe and the things that you want to do, Texas offers a lot more things that resonate for me as a father, as more importantly as a husband. I want my wife to be safe. I want her to be able to go back and forth to work, to her law firm. There's people walking by, and so sometimes they're talking and they're quite loud. They can see that I'm talking on camera. It doesn't matter. They're starting their day here at the Moody Gardens Hotel. So we found a few houses that we like. But people are so friendly here in Texas. They really are. We've been welcomed, by so many people that we've met, that we've talked to about moving here. And it's really been fun. But that clip, I keep going back to that clip. And if you need to, go back in the show and watch that clip again, because I have yet to see anyone explain the moves, the geopolitical moves that are going on with the current administration better than this guy just did it. Really smart, concise, tight, accurate. It really does put it into perspective, when it comes to what's going on in the confrontations that we've been involved in this last year. Get ready for the year to come to be really interesting financially. Get ready. So start doing your research about coin-based moves that will be made in the United States, what coin you should hold, and how that's going to affect the American dollar, the existence of the American dollar. There's a lot of stuff going on that's going to shift, and I think it has to. China and Russia have too much control over what happens with the American dollar and can affect it so greatly that if we take the dollar out of play and we move into a cryptocurrency program, I think you're going to see the U.S. flourish in the long run from doing that. There'll be some transitional time. There'll be some stuff we need to understand. But while this war has been going on, there's been a lot of banking decisions that have been made in the U.S. that have kind of flown below the radar because bombs are dropping in Iran and things are happening in Israel that seem to be taking up most of our focus. So I'll do a show on that and we'll talk about that. But if you can, go back and watch this clip that I put in. It's pretty cool. So that's the show for today. I'm on the road. I'll do my usual longer show when I get home, and I'll be home tomorrow. So have a blessed weekend, and I will see you again on Tuesday. God bless you.